Though we mention this instance of an imposition put upon us by the governor of New York, yet we must do the English the justice to say, we have had their hearty assistances in our wars with the French, who were no sooner arrived amongst us than they began to render us uneasy, and to provoke us to war, and we have had several wars with them, during all which we constantly received assistance from the English. And, by their means, we have always been able to keep up our heads against their attacks. We now come nearer home. We have had your deeds interpreted to us, and we acknowledge them to be good and valid, and that the Conestoga or Susquehanna Indians had a right to sell those lands to you, for they were then theirs, but since that time we have conquered them, and their country now belongs to us, and the lands we demanded satisfaction for are no part of the lands comprised in those deeds, they are the Cohongarontas lands, those we are sure. You have not possessed 100 years, no, nor above 10 years, and we made our demands so soon as we knew your people were settled in those parts. These have never been sold, but remain still, to be disposed of, and we are well pleased to hear you are provided with goods, and do assure you of our willingness to treat with you for those unpurchased lands, in confirmation whereof, we present you with this belt of wampum. Yoha. As the three governors of Virginia, Maryland, and Pennsylvania have divided the lands among them, we cannot, for this reason, tell how much each had got, nor are we concerned about it, so that we are paid by all the governors for the several parts each possessed, and this we leave to their honor and justice.
Sachems and warriors of the 6 United Nations, our friends and brethren, Atardazine, the governor of Pennsylvania, invited you to this council fire. We have waited a long time for you, but now you are come, you are heartily welcome. We are very glad to see you. We give you this string of wampum.
Yoha.
Brethren, in the year 1736, 4 of your sachems wrote a letter to James Logan Esquire, then President of Pennsylvania, to let the governor of Virginia know that you expected some consideration for lands in the occupation of some of the people of Virginia. Upon seeing a copy of this letter, the governor, with the Council of Virginia, took some time to consider of it. They found, on looking into the old treaties, that you had given up your lands to the great king, who has had possession of Virginia above 160 years, and under that great king the inhabitants of Virginia hold their land, so they thought there might be some mistake. Wherefore they desired the governor of New York to inquire of you about it. He sent his interpreter to you in May, 1743, who laid this before you at a council held at Onondaga, to which you answer, that if you had any demand or pretensions on the governor of Virginia anyway, you would have made it known to the governor of New York. This corresponds with what you have said to Governor Thomas, in the treaty made with him at Philadelphia in July, 1742, for then you only make your claim to lands in the government of Maryland. We are so well pleased with this good faith of you, our brethren of the 6 nations, and your regard to the treaties made with Virginia, that we are ready to hear you on the subject of your message 8 years since. Tell us what nations of Indians you conquered any lands from in Virginia, how long it is since, and what possession you have had, and if it does appear that there is any land on the borders of Virginia, that the 6 nations have a right to, we are willing to make you satisfaction.
Yoha.
We have a chest of new goods, and the key is in our pockets. You are our brethren, the great king, is our common father, and we will live with you, as children ought to do, in peace and love. We will brighten the chain, and strengthen the union between us, so that we shall never be divided, but remain friends and brethren, as long as the sun gives light, and confirmation whereof, we give you this belt of wampum.
Yoha. Brother Asaragoa, you have made a good speech to us, which is very agreeable, and for which we return you our thanks. We shall be able to give you an answer to every part of it, sometime this afternoon, and we will let you know, when we are ready.